Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Long Song Saturday Halloween edition. Hope you're having a lovely one, a spooky one out there. Let's run the intro and then we'll kind of get into it. So, for today's Long Song Saturday, which once again, thank you all for joining me today, we're going to do a full album listen, a full album reaction of Oingo Boingo's album, Dead Man's Party. This is their fifth studio album released in 1985. Quite a long time ago, we had listened to the track off of this album, No One Lives Forever. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't remember it at all. I really don't remember it. We listened to that like literally a long time ago. Like that was 2019. That's 5 years. 5 years ago. Oh my god. So, anyways, we're gonna do the full album reaction today. This album being recommended and suggested by William Osborne, L.J. Seitz, K. Fleetwood, Gene Harris, Richie Rich, wasn't that a cartoon? Abby Boyd, YJ, Bruce, my sumo friend, Mr. Kite, and Jay Ray. So thank you guys so much for the recommendation. And of course, you know, this album should quite fittingly go along with the season. So hope you guys are having a great one. Once again, as always, thank you so much for being here, for just, you know, stopping by and watching the videos. You don't have to, but you're here. So we'll see if you're still here by the end of the video. But at least for now, I appreciate you. If it's your first time here, don't make it your last time. We try to have fun around here while at the same time, you know, just enjoying the music and, you know, just chilling. This is a relaxed environment. No pressure, no nothing. Just relax and listen to the music, and occasionally some musings afterwards. Yeah. So before we dive into it, press the like button if you wish. Subscribe if you haven't. And like I said, if it's your first time, don't make it your last time. But if it is your last time, you're like, I don't even like this guy. I don't like where it's going. That's not a problem. Thank you for at least checking it out. You can also support the channel on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You don't have to, but you can. And with that being said, that's all I have to say. Let's go ahead and start off the album listen. We're going to begin with the first track here, which is Just Another Day. And as always, my friends, my pals, hold on, let me get the ramen shark to you. This one is for you. Listen, I don't usually cream up my sauce and put the whipped cream on top, but you know what? I was feeling it today. So this one's for you. Let's go ahead and get into it with the first track, which is Just Another Day. This is good. It's a brilliant entry point for the album. That's a great way to start off. It does feel like a party album, right? So I love that xylophone kind of line that's going throughout the whole thing. It may not be exactly xylophone, but I'm actually quite sure it probably is one of the phones anyways. But I love how it just goes along with the whole song. And that sound to me is always reminiscent of like bones. And whenever you watch old cartoons, the skeletons will be playing on their rib cages like a xylophone. So here with this track and with the album concept probably as a whole, it definitely fits into that theme. Danny sounds absolutely wonderful. I really like his singing in here. The bass lines and the bass fills from John Avila are really, really good. Because the bass lines in a song like this could have been something standard, groovy, yet standard. But I think that he kind of took it upon himself to add some bass fills in there that really just sounded really nice and kind of catapulted certain moments of the song into the next phase of it and kind of gave them a certain momentum, which I really, really enjoyed. And then the guitars from Steve Bartek were also, once again, really nice. There was a lot of jammy kind of guitar sounds in there, a lot of playfulness in there. So once again, like it feels like a song that could have been just note by note, paint by numbers, but there's nuance in there, there's extra stuff in there that all the band is throwing in there to make it really stand and pop out. Kind of reminds me in some ways, not like a lot, I'm not doing one-to-one comparison, but it reminds me in some ways of XTC, taking a formula but really expanding upon it and giving it its own kind of progressive nature, which I think is really cool. The lyrics, let's go ahead and dive into that. Oh, wrong button. There you go. There's life underground. I feel it all around, I feel it in my bones. My life is on the line when I'm home or away from home. When I step out the door, the jungle is alive. I do not trust my ears, I do not believe my eyes. I will not fall in love, I cannot risk the bet, because hearts are fragile toys, so easy to forget. It's just another day, there's murder in the air. It drags me when I walk, I smell it everywhere. It's just another day where people cling to light to drive away the fear that comes with every night. So I feel like just another day, and maybe, I don't believe that this is a concept album, but perhaps there is a thematic line that runs through it all about death and such. Because I feel like that's what this song is really getting at when it comes to the heart of things, is that, every day is another day that you've made it and you have life, but at the same time, every day there's also the chance that this is your last day. And he doesn't want to fall in love, he doesn't want to risk it, he doesn't want to, he's scared every time he steps out the door. He says, well, the jungle's alive, this could be it. I feel like that's kind of where he's going with this. It's just another day, there's murder in the air, it drags me when I walk, I smell it everywhere. I think that he's just kind of, that's his kind of nihilistic perspective on everything. It's just another day when people wake from dreams, the voices in their ears that will not go away. I had a dream last night, the world was set on fire, and everywhere I ran there wasn't any water. The temperature increased, the sky was crimson red, the clouds turned to smoke, and everyone was dead. But there's a smile on my face. For everyone there's a golden coin that reflects the sun. There's a lonely place that's always cold. There's a place in the stars for when you get old. It's just another day. Even as bad as things may get, there's always a sense of hope. There's always something to look forward to and to hope for. There's razors in my bed that come out late at night. They always disappear before the morning light. I'm dreaming again of life underground. It doesn't ever move, it doesn't make a sound. And just when I think that things are in their place, the heavens are secure, the whole thing explodes in my face. He thinks he had it, he has everything, as he says, in place. He's like, okay, I think I got it all right. I think the heavens are secure, everything's good. And then everything goes wrong and it's back to square one. And it's just another day and we're all just trying to make it through that next day. Let's go to move on to the next track here, which is going to be the title track of the album, Dead Man's Party. Let me pull it up here really quick, and here we go. Trumpets. There's always so much going on in there. Like how everything dropped out. Oh, when it's the title track, it has to make a statement of some sort. The whole artwork, the whole album is named after this song or vice versa. And this track truly lived up to its title of Dead Man's Party. It has a strong party presence. It is fun. It is catchy. Danny's singing, especially in the chorus, in the section where he's like, I'm not going to sing it, but when he says, don't run away, it's only me, don't be afraid of what you can't see. The way he cries it out is really, really well done and very well delivered. He kind of reminds me of Sting from The Police only in that particular line, and the way he sings out, it just is the delivery, and I feel like he delivers it in the same way that Sting would do. This track has so much going on. It kind of reminded me of a Thomas Dolby track, in that production-wise, there's a great mix of instruments. Of course, there's a great mix of musicianship that's happening, but it's all very well produced and very well put together. I don't even know where to begin, but of course we'll start with the rhythm of it all, the root of it all, the bass and the drums. So I didn't mention the drummer, I don't believe. That's going to be, hold on, let me pull a name up over here. It's going to be Johnny Vatos Hernandez. Just really great drumming, and the song has, I want to say, a slightly odd meter. I was trying to count at one point, and it sounded like it was 15, 16, because it goes 7, 8, no, it goes 8, 8, and then 7, 8 at one point. When those hits at the end, when the trumpet comes in. I don't know. Either way, there was something odd about it that was throwing me off, and I was trying to catch it, but I like that. It just adds a little bit of oddity into this particular space. And I think that was really, really well done. How catchy this song is. It is insanely catchy. It's an earworm, but once again, there's that depth of musicianship that's happening here. You have what sounds like the return in some cases and some points of that xylophone-like instrument, but then we have additional keys and synths that are featured here, and that's going to be courtesy of Mike Backick. And I like how he has a little solo there near 3/4 of the way through or so. And it's a relatively simple solo, but it plays straight and it plays with the music very, very well in keeping that tone going. The music drops out for a moment to allow space, and then it all comes back. The horns are a great addition, definitely giving that, to me, once again, that party vibe where, I mean, it's a dead man's party. And looking at the lyrics, I want to say that this is about someone who's died and is kind of wandering around in the afterlife or so. At least that's what I was getting at, or thinking. And I know that Danny Elfman has had a hand in producing compositions and scoring films like for Tim Burton and things like that. I don't know if he's scored Beetlejuice, but it's making me think of Beetlejuice a little bit. I haven't seen Beetlejuice in a long time. I want to see the second one. I haven't yet. But I think that it's been a really long time since I've seen Beetlejuice. I think a character died in there, didn't they? And they were like, what was the scene when they're in the waiting room, and the main character is like sitting next to like some other people and things that have died. I think that, I don't know. Actually, it's been a while since I don't even want to, let's not even go there because I don't even remember. But it kind of reminds me of that, like waiting for the afterlife and just kind of going through things and stuff. So let's see what's happening in there. Yeah, let him in. I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go, walking with a dead man over my shoulder. I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go, walking with a dead man over my shoulder. Waiting for an invitation to arrive, going to a party where no one's still alive. Okay, repeats that. I was struck by lightning walking down the street. I was hit by something last night in my sleep. It's a dead man's party. Who could ask for more? Everybody's coming. Leave your body at the door. Don't run away. It's only me. Leave your body and soul at the door. Like, I feel like this is, once again, this is someone who's died and now they're wandering the afterlife. So maybe they're trying to visit their loved ones, and like they show themselves, they reveal themselves to their loved one, and they're like, don't run away. It's just me. You know, I know I'm a little bit of a ghost right now, but you know, it's just me. I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go. Okay, we've read that already. I got my best suit and my ties, shiny silver dollar on either eye. Of course, you know, putting the coins on your eyes, and so you can pay your ferryman, Sharon, to take you across the river Styx to the afterlife. I hear the chauffeur coming to my door. Well, that must be, of course, who we just said, Sharon. Says there's room for maybe just one more. There you go. Don't run away. It's only me. Don't be afraid of what you can't see. And it just goes from there. So yeah, that's at least what I'm getting out of the lyrics. But let's go ahead and see what it says down here. This song is about attending a funeral and being buried. Okay, I can see that as well. Let's see. Yeah, we already read the lyrics. Yeah, I see that. River Styx. Yeah, duh, everyone knows that. Let's look at the Wikipedia article for it and see if there's something else on here. It says that this was released as the third single from this particular album. It says that the lyric, I hear the chauffeur coming to my door, is a reference to The Bus Conductor, a short story by E.F. Benson about a hearse driver. Okay, that's kind of interesting. The story has been adapted several times and spawned an urban legend, with each version using the catchphrase, room for one more. That's actually really cool. I'd actually be really interested in reading this short story. I've never heard of it, but I think that's kind of cool. It's apparently best known for its appearance in the film Back to School. Never heard of it. And the song was performed as the song for the final encore of his Nightmare Before Christmas concerts. Never seen it. So there you go. Let's move on into the next track, which is going to be Heard Somebody Cry. Is it The Witch from Left 4 Dead 2? Remember when The Witch from Left 4 Dead 2 was scary? And then you just figured out how to like run up to them and blast them. Okay, some of you haven't played Left 4 Dead 2. That's okay. That little overlap is really cool too. Oh, that's it. Hold on. I was just jamming out to the song. Danny's a really good singer. The music is reminding me of Talking Heads a little bit, but just going into a more, I guess, macabre kind of direction. Slightly, not like overly so. But like, I think that that's a really like great statement that they're making here. And I think that the music sounds really fun. The guitar, woo! Steve Bartek, he gets his moments to shine here. Moments, I should say. Like, he has his time in the sun, and he makes great use of it. He plays some really nice solos throughout this track. And I was actually meaning to mention that in the other two tracks that we listened to as well, I like how his guitar playing has a lot of character and personality. And I think that actually that could kind of go towards all of the musicians that are playing. None of them are playing just straight on the groove. Like they're playing the straight on the groove. I mean, it's not like they're off time, but they're all playing with nuances that I think allow them to express their creativity amongst the band and add their own particular individuality into the music as a whole, but in a really nice, cohesive, and ultimately fun way. And Bartek here on this track is the one to get the limelight in particular. But once again, the drums from Hernandez, I really like the sound of the drums that he uses on the fills, because he kind of uses the, I don't know if it's a V drum sound or like a rototom kind of sound, but like when he plays, in my version, like the Phil Collins fills, right? And he's playing da 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 bum 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 bum. Like when he plays the toms or whatever, it has a different sound to it, and I can't quite tell you if that's V drum or rototoms, or it's just different than like normal toms. But I like that. I like, once again, the way that kind of pulses with the music and as it goes. The bass line is deep, and there seems to be like a little bit of a synthy underbelly to that bass in there, whether that is Mike on the keyboards or that's just something like a filter on the bass or so. But either way, I think that sounds really cool on this one here. Let's go take a look at these lyrics. I thought I heard somebody cry. I went to see what I could find, like flowers in the dead of night, like shadows in the moonlight. I thought I heard somebody cry, a choir with a single voice, a picnic on a cliff, antenna like an insect to pick up all your thoughts. It isn't true, I am not the ghost without a soul. Come, listen to my heart, you feel the beat. Stop, listen to the sound of moving feet. Walk through the halls at night. I like the way that all these words, stop, walk, can work as the ending to the previous line or moving on to the next line. So like you feel the heartbeat stop, well, you're probably dead. But then it's also saying stop and listen to the sound. And then, of course, of moving feet, walk through the halls of light or night. I think that that's really cool. When I'm asleep, I don't believe. The shoe is on the other foot, the glove is on the fist. The fist is like a cannonball, but it feels like a kiss. I got a bed that's soft and a room that's always sad. I thought I heard a window sigh. I thought I heard somebody cry. It isn't true. I'm not the ghost without a soul. Come listen to my heart. You feel the beat. So on and so forth. And the outro is the same as well. So, we actually should look. I don't believe that this is a concept album. I don't see anything here anywhere that's saying that this is a concept album. However, I would say that there is definitely a theme of death going on here. And would this perhaps be someone that has died? Once again, I'm kind of leaning towards they're a ghost, even though he says he's not a ghost. Well, he says he's not a ghost without a soul. So like he's still him. And this is them. I feel like they're visiting somebody who's grieving over them. Like they heard somebody cry because it's someone that they love, and they're missing this particular person who died and is now a ghost. Right? Maybe? Listen to the sound of moving feet walk through the halls at night when I'm asleep. I don't believe. Or maybe they're the one. No, I think they're the ghost. He's in denial that he's a ghost, but he's the ghost. He dead, yo. Let's move on. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be No One Lives Forever. Like I said, we have technically done a first listen of this track. I don't remember it all. Maybe I'll remember it when we listen to it right now, but let's go ahead and get it. Here we go. Okay, I remembered it when it started. That is the most dancey track on the album. And if I remember correctly, I'm going back 5 years ago, but if I remember correctly, I probably said something along the lines of, that's a party live. If you were to see the band like playing this, that's when, like, that's the party breaking out. Especially when it relegates itself back to the that's not exactly how it sounds, but you don't know. That's when you're going techno Viking there right in front of the stage. You know you are, and you probably dressed up for this concert in a Halloween concert or so. That's a cool track. And I love that keyboard sound. I'm not quite sure what it is, but that keyboard sound that comes in about halfway through, it has this kind of weird vibration to it that just sounds really, really cool within the context of the song. The guitar riff alongside the horns and how they jump on top of each other with that sinister. That's not exactly right, but like that's just so cool. And then I just said it, but the pulse, like it just keeps this song moving. And even the way that Danny is singing, I'm not going to say he's rapping because that's taking it too far, but he's singing with motivated and momentum based and rhythmic based movement. Right? Like he's moving with purpose. he's moving with purpose on this track. I love how it just feels like this locomotive going down to heck. But there's a party on board. There's a party on board for this one. That's good. That's good. I remember it now. I remember it. You worry too much, you make yourself sad, you can't change fate, but don't feel so bad. Enjoy it while you can. It's just like the weather. So quit complaining, brother. No one lives forever. And the gang chants and the crowd chanting and harmonizing, yelling, no one lives forever. That just leads off into the chorus. It's so, so good. Let's have a party. There's a full moon in the sky. It's the hour of the wolf and I don't want to die. I'm so happy dancing while the Grim Reaper cuts, but he can't get me. I'm as clever as can be. I love that line. The Grim Reaper, he may cut me every once in a while. He may get a scrape here and there, but he ain't never going to catch me. And I'm very quick, but don't forget, we've only got so many tricks. No one lives forever. Basically, YOLO. Enjoy your life while you can. You think you got it rough? What about your darling doggy? 10 short years, he's getting old and groggy. I don't think it's very fair. Cold, chop low. But it's all relative, my friend. No one lives forever. Like, hey, be grateful for what you got because your dog only lives for 10 or so years. So enjoy what you got because what about him, And I like how we referenced the Grim Reaper earlier up here and the whole cutting thing. And then right down here, cold, chop low. Like the Grim Reaper has to stoop down a little bit to chop your dog. You worry too much. You make yourself sad. You can't change fate. Don't feel so bad. No one beats him at his game for very long. It's just the same. Who cares? There's no place safe to hide. Nowhere to run. No time to cry. So celebrate while you can. Because any second, it may be end. And when it's all said and done, better that you had some fun. Instead of hiding in your shell, why make your life a living hell? Because your life may be a dead hell. So drink a toast and down the cup. And drink to bones that turn to dust. Because no one lives forever. Pretty self-explanatory, like I said. Just enjoy your life while you can and do with it what you will. Anyways, with that, let's move on to the next track, which is also moving on to the second side of the album. And the first track on the next side is Stay. And hope that you guys have stayed here for the halfway point. Because at the halfway point, I always say, hey, put a comment down below to let me know that you're still watching at this particular point. Or maybe you've checked out. Because I see comments and they don't address what I'm about to say. But I know for those of you who are here, you will address. Thank you guys so much for being here. So in the comments below, let me know what if I should change my Halloween decorations, because I have 4 things: the ghost, the witch hat, the sign, and then the tablecloth back there. I haven't like bought anything new for the Halloween set in probably like a few years. So let me know. Do you think I should buy something new, or should I just stick with what I got? Because I'm not gonna go crazy and buy like spider webs and a fog machine and like spooky candles. Like it's just like a little change, just like a little something. So I guess the question is, should I stay or should I go with the decorations? Let me know in the comments down below, or you can just ignore what I said. All right, let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be Stay. Is this going to be a cover from David Bowie? Let's go.
Horse race, winners beat
I was just about to mention that the keyboards and the synths are doing some good work in here, because there's those little moments where it's a high-pitched synth line that it doesn't sound like a theremin, but is kind of edging towards that kind of higher-pitched sound that comes in, especially a little bit harder from the second half of this track forward. And I think it just begins to add this little sense of something's not right, which when I'm looking at the lyrics for Stay, I'm gonna be honest, I think on one hand, you could almost look at this like a typical love song. Like, you look at this and maybe you don't look too deeply into it and you're like, oh, don't go. Stay with me one more day, Oh, so sweet, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like there's something more sinister going on. And I feel like the person is not necessarily asking this person to stay. I feel like this is like a serial killer situation, and like they're kind of forced to stay. Like, don't go, you really can't, Like, there's no prizes at the door, as he says in the verse there, and we'll kind of get into it. But I feel like there's something sinister going on. So even though this song does have this kind of sweet sound to it, it does sound, very, I don't want to say romantic, but it does sound, I guess, a little bit lovey-dovey. There's something with the keyboards especially, and even to an extent the way that Danny's singing, that just kind of leaves me a little, there's something else going on this. And speaking of Danny's singing, I really like the warbling that he adds in some of his lines and words in his delivery. The way that he sings, if we get through, like, I didn't sing it right, but like when he says through, and he kind of goes a little higher there, it sounds really nice. His delivery, not his voice, I'm not saying he sounds like this person, but his delivery in some respects in this track remind me of Brian Ferry from Roxy Music a little bit. Because there is a little bit of that suaveness, but singing like there's a hint of a darker side to things there. I think that sounds really cool. And I like how this track opens up this side of the album with a little bit more reservation, kind of establishing a little bit more of a different mood. Before I'm sure we kind of go back to like a party vibe or something of that nature. And that ending bit, with a little bit of synth and electronics that just kind of carried us out, I actually wish that there was like a little bit more of that, or something like extending off of that. I just think that that'd be really cool, even if used as a break, like something key and synthy based, just like to, I don't know, Tangerine Dream it up a little bit. All right, this is not the first time you tried to get away. I mean, listen, you from the first line, there's something wrong. This is not the first time you tried to get away. I don't think that's just a normal relationship that has a few bumps in the road. This is victims running away. They trip on the road, and then the serial killer comes down in the car, and they find another bump in the road. That's the wrong soundboard. This is not a party where people know your name. This is not a classroom with teacher at the board. This is not a cat show with prices at the door. Go. Why? Or go. Don't you go. Won't you stay with me one more day? If we get through one more night. I feel like that's like, if you survive one more night, then you get to spend another day with me. This is not a horse race where winners beat the time. This is not a funeral with mourners in a line. This is not a sitcom where everything's all right. This is not a prison with terror through the night. Because the terror is in the day. This is not the first time you had to get away. This is not a party where people know your name. And it goes on again. I think this is a serial killer that has a victim chained up somewhere. That's kind of funny, the cover artwork there. All right, let's move on to the next track, which is Fool's Paradise. Not Gangster Paradise, even though that's a good one. This is Fool's Paradise. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. Oh, this one's going to jam out. You can hear it. Was unfazed. What a fun album this is. This is a great like Halloween party album that may have a few themes of death and hauntings and ghosts and such, but it's just such a good time that like it works in a lot of context. Hernandez on the drums, he gets to pop off just a little bit more on this one, which I really enjoy. I was wanting to hear a little bit more because I just like to hear more drums and stuff. And there's that little moment where he gets to kind of snap off, and it almost sounds like a break basically with the music, but it kind of snaps off the drum beat, kind of puts down a little bit of a different groove, and I was kind of hoping that would carry on and keep going because he really shined really brightly in that moment. And then it kind of goes back to where it was going. I was like, ah, man. But it was a cool moment, though. And throughout the whole song, he is playing very snappily, very crackly, very poppily. It was just working really well. The bass groove in line with the horns. Like, it's just so fun to listen to. And that is really captured throughout this whole album listen up to this point so far. In the way the horns just blast at certain hits and come in at certain moments that accentuate what's already going on with the bass and the guitar especially, which just sounds really, really good. Once again, I have to say that in this track, Danny is, to me, I just can't help get it out of my head now that I've thought about it. He's kind of sounding like Brian Ferry a little bit. Once again, not in voice, but in delivery. Especially if you listen to a lot of the way that he ends certain lines, he adds a little bit of that, oh, like a little warble, a little something. Of course, in a slightly deeper voice, but like it just sounds really cool. It also kind of sounds like the way that David Sylvian used to sing, like in early Japan, before he, got a lot more intimate and baroque. Like it kind of sounds like that. Like he's adding in that certain spin in the way he's singing, which I think sounds really cool. And he's partying with this thing. Like he's partying on this album, and why shouldn't they? This kind of feels. I'm sure that there's there's probably a live DVD of this album or performance from Oingo Boingo that you'd probably get a lot of what I'm kind of thinking with the band and with the album and such. Anyways, on a quest for the Holy Grail, try and live on Razor's Edge. Find a mountain or cross a valley, why bother, it's all for sale. True love was in her eyes, burning truth was on her face. Even though it was late at night, saw her once, there's no mistake. Now that we've found this precious place, how do we keep from going crazy now? My life was leading to this day, watching the whole thing slip away. It was just a fool's paradise, anyhow. Dirty stains on brand new linen, fresh cracks on virgin snow. Caught a saint while he was sinning, people scream, what do they know? Turn it off and find religion, tune it out and find a cause. Get it up and tell the world, don't stop, don't ever pause. So this paradise, it's saying it's a fool's paradise. So not everything is what it seems. Perhaps you think you found gold, but in the end it was really just pyrite. Is that what it was called? Fool's gold? Basically, so, things may look a certain way, things may look good, but beneath the surface, it's not quite right. Like, for example, the line, true love was in her eyes, but burning truth was on her face. So your eyes say something, but your face is saying another thing. Here is this place from all our dreams. It doesn't seem to make us better now. If it will get us through the night with all our conscience still intact, it's just a fool's paradise. My life was leading to this day, watching the whole thing slip away. It's just a fool's paradise. Two heads are better than one. Two hearts bleed so much more. That's true. Serious, but no one's laughing. Why run when you can crawl? True love around the corner, out of reach, so hard to hold. My life's an open letter. Tear it up, throw it away. Yeah, it's always something good, but then here's the truth, or here's the negative to it. Here's the pro, here's the con, and it just goes line after line. My life's an open letter, which sounds good, but tear it up and throw it away. Oh, well, there you go. Two heads are better than one. That's a good thing, but two hearts bleed so much more. That's bad. Like, you see how reality strikes and all of a sudden they don't sound so good anymore. Let's move on into the next track over here, which is going to be Help Me. Help me, help me. I don't know why I said help me. Let's go. Bring the sax out. Nice way of changing that. This is a fun album. Help Me brings in, it takes the party, but it takes the party, at least for the chorus, to church. When it goes, you gotta help, back, I gotta help, back. Like, it just has that feverish energy. Like, that is so good. And then the ending, the final chorus, the way it brings it all around, and instead of going the back, it goes, like, that is just such a cool way for the drummer to, once again, for Hernandez to switch up that particular moment and change the energy, at least of the entry point of that chorus. That is so cool to bring that rolling snare pattern in there and then eventually use that as this build up into the midst of the chorus, even though that's how it's used in the first half of the chorus at that point. Like, that is just, to me, really, really cool. We get a really killer guitar solo in here as well. There's a lot of space, especially when the music drops out in the verse there, to like kind of leave it empty, and then it fills it right back up. The organ comes in with that rip. Like, that's a really, really good song. I think the warble sounds so cool when Danny's singing it as well. The bass line is fat and funky. The drums, I mean, Hernandez, like I said, that is really good. And we get some sax to lay us down. Sax City, population us. It's a great one. I love how the chorus really feels like so uplifting and different than even the previous upbeat tracks. It still keeps things upbeat, but it just gives it a different kind of energy here. That is really, really good. When you spend your whole life building stone castles, when the walls start to crumble exposed to the world, when the wind burns my face and the smoke burns my eyes, I can't ever cry. You gotta help to make me somebody. You gotta help to open my eyes. You gotta help. The temperature's rising, how a cool drink would help. I've been thirsty for years, I'm hungry for something. Just the touch of your flesh to soothe and refresh. So, going with the first lines here, I feel like he's the one that's spent his life building these castle walls around him, putting up walls around him and not letting anyone through. But with time and experience and maturity, those walls, they begin to crumble a little bit. And apparently, as he says in the chorus, he's asking this other person to make them somebody, to make him, to help him, to open his eyes, to help him. So now he's reaching out for help. Now, this could also be referencing, like, let's take it literally, and maybe not literally with the castle walls, but like figuratively, but with old age. Maybe, like, I don't know, in his adulthood and such, he's put up walls and he hasn't allowed people to come in and help him. Well, now he needs help as he's getting older, and now those walls are crumbling from time, and now he's asking for someone to help him. He says the temperature is rising, a cool drink would help. He's been thirsty for years. Like, he's always wanted that intimacy. He's always wanted friendship or a relationship of some kind, but with those walls there, it's kept people out. Now, he's admitting and being honest with himself, like, yeah, I want that. I wish I had just a touch from someone or a personal connection with someone. And he says it as in, you know, being perhaps in a desert without a drink or with the sun beating down on you. And then he repeats the lines from there. That's at least how I kind of read this one, help me. Like, now he's finally asking and accepting help, whereas before, as he says, he spent his whole life building stone castles, and now it's time for the walls to be coming down. Let's go ahead and listen to the next track here, which is Same Man I Was Before. Let's go. Came right through. What sound is that? The only thing I'm listening to this track and trying to figure out is what was that sound? I mean, it has to be from the keyboards or sampled, perhaps, but that wow, 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 wow. It sounded like they took a voice, sampled it, did something to it, and then, like, every time you press the keys, like, wow, 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 wow. I don't know what that was. I like how the women were brought in with the harmonies, especially from the second half forward. I thought that was a nice nuance because this track was very harmony heavy. I was listening to it, and pretty much at the end of every single line, either as the band harmonizing with Danny, or as Danny, of course, overdubbing and harmonizing with himself. But there was constant harmonies and additions from either the rest of the band, like I said, on background vocals at certain points, which added this really nice, it's going to sound weird, but a social aspect into it. Like, we've had the party, we have all the musicians, they're on stage, they're trumpeting and drumming and doing their thing. But now it's like the audience is kind of singing out certain lines alongside with the band and Danny specifically, which I thought was kind of a cool way of kind of bringing in everything. Obviously, there's been harmonies before, but I just noticed like it sounded like there were more in this particular track. This song has a weird kind of, to me, it has a weird like rhythm or sound to it, or structure maybe, in that the music like grooves, especially with the bass line, that boom, I always like think of disco for some reason when I hear that two-step. That like it moves and then it stops when it hits the drums with the da 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 da. It just has this weird kind of shift in its rhythm, which I don't love, but it's okay. Like, this is probably, well, no, this is my least favorite track on the album at this point, which I think, like, as we hit the last track, like, that's a pretty good record. But yeah, this one doesn't quite hit me as much as the other ones. I think there's some cool stuff in here, but it's not hitting me quite right. Let's look at these lyrics though. I'm not the same man I was before. I haven't changed my perception. I haven't lost my protection. I haven't lost what I have. Lost intentions. 2 by 2 coming in through the door, singing like a bird. Boys and girls, voices joined in one song, or in song, voices in the air. Firecrackers making so much noise, flying in the air. They all start yelling at me. Everything you do is wrong. So the question is, who is he? Same man I was before. I'm not the same boy I was before. I haven't changed my desires. I've not extinguished the fires. I haven't lost wide-eyed wonder. I haven't lost that stupid fear of thunder. So he's the same man I was before. Nothing's changed. Even when he was a kid, when he was a boy, growing up, he hasn't extinguished the fires. Like, I'm assuming that youthful fire, that passion of, like, do. He hasn't lost his wide-eyed wonder of things, his curiosities, and he still hasn't extinguished that fear of thunder. He's still a little scared of thunder. Which, by the way, when I was in college, there was this kid, and I don't know what it was, but I've never seen anyone so scared of thunder and lightning. We were in class one day, and it was on the second story in the classroom, and you're here for random stories. And I was sitting next to him, and it started to thunder like a little bit, like in the distance, and he just looked out the window like looking, right? And then I was like, whatever. I didn't really think about it. I was just like, okay, it's a little thunder. And then it thundered. And I mean, listen, we live in Florida. It thunders all the time. It's not unusual. And it like thundered loud. And he got up and he said, I'm sorry, I got to leave. I don't know what kind of perhaps trauma or experience he had went through to have that fear of thunder and lightning. But I was kind of thinking, like, you're inside in the classroom. You're in the safe place. Like, you're in the building, the main building. We're good. I don't know where he was going, but he was in the safest place I thought he could have been. And he left. He went outside. Not the best move. But anyways, listen, what are we talking about? I'm not the same ghost I was before, but I converse with the spirits. When people talk, I don't hear it. I walk through doors when no one sees me. I disappear whenever it may please me. Are you a ghost? 2 by 2 walking in hand. The bones come marching from the promised land. Their voices carry like the sound of glass. It burns my ears when they sing everything you do is wrong. Are you the devil? I mean, like 2 by 2 walking in hand, like I'm getting a Noah's Ark kind of vibe. The bones come marching from the promised land. Like, what is it? Israelites that like, I don't know, failed with that. So like the bones come marching, their spirits come marching. It burns my ears when they sing everything you do is wrong, like everything you do is wrong, but the devil's like, come on, dude, like, not everything. Like, maybe? Or maybe I'm looking too deep into it. I believe that this is someone. I believe that Danny Elfman is of Jewish background, and the lyrics describe what the Old Testament prophet Ezekiel described as the valley of the dry bones in chapter 37. He also mentions the promised land. The refrain, everything you do is wrong, is a sense of condemnation when one discovers that they cannot live up to the demands of the law of God. Maybe. I don't know. Same man I was before, like I've always been this way. I have no idea. But what I do have an idea of is we're moving on to the last track, which is going to be Weird Science, which, because I see there's a Wikipedia article for it and I just happen to hover over it, is, I guess, the theme song for the Weird Science film and television series. Never watched it, so I don't know. I've heard of it. I've never watched it. So let's go ahead and listen to the song. We'll talk about it after. Here we go.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention? True, living tissue, warm flesh, weird science. Oh, plastic tubes and pots and pans. Not what teachers said to do, bits and pieces.
Immersion for the guitar riff right there. Talk about a musical laboratory filled with musical beakers and test tubes and whatever else you would use. Like, there's so much happening. This is a dense track. This is the densest of the densest tracks, with everyone going full steam ahead. And I feel like as the last track on this album, it definitely is making a statement. Like, this is the band going all out at this particular point, and I think they do a fantastic job. There's a lot to like look into on this one. Every instrument is really pushing to their limits. The production is pushing to its limits. I feel like this track sounds like a Trevor Horn or a Thomas Dolby kind of track, which is how it's produced and stuff. Obviously, Oingo Boingo, like they did their stuff. It just sounds really cool. And it really does, to me, feel like a weird science experiment with this song. Like, with all the horn blasts and the energy. It's extremely mad scientist, eclectic energy that is happening in here with everyone involved. With the samples and the drumming, the guitar, but there's also some calm melodic synth lines. The math, science, weird science. Like, there's just a lot going on in this dense cake of a song. There's too much. It's a little bit. I'll be honest. On a first listen, it makes me wish there was a shorter version of this. Like, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. There's a single version. I would like this single version as opposed to the album version. I feel like this is just off first listen. I feel like there was too much going on, and it went on a little bit too long. I would like it pulled back a little bit. Or maybe I need to be used to it, or I need to get used to it. However, if I'm being controversial, I would argue that probably a lot of people like this because of this association with the TV show, I guess, or the movie, Weird Science. The song reached number 45 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 and 21 on the U.S. dance charts. I can definitely see it in the dance charts. And 81 in Canada. It is the band's most successful single. It says the song was written spontaneously by Elfman in the car while driving home to L.A. after a phone call with director John Hughes asking him to write a song for his movie of the same name. Elfman claimed to have heard the whole thing in his head by the time he ran to his studio to record his demo. I always think that is such a phenomenal and fascinating talent for a musician or a songwriter to be able to come up with ideas for songs so seemingly sporadically. It talks, of course, to their creativity and talents, but to, basically have heard the whole thing in his head and just put it down. And I mean, look at what you got. Like that's incredible for what you got there out of this one. See, like how there's a single version 345. At least for me, like on a first listen, I think I would like that a little bit of a shorter version. There's a weird dub bonus beats. I don't know what that. A Boingo dance version. I'm kind of interested in that. I haven't looked at the lyrics yet. Let's look at that real quick here. From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intentions? Weird science, plastic tubes and pots and pans, bits and pieces and magic from my hand. We're making weird science. Things I've never seen before behind bolted doors. Talent and imagination. Not what teachers said to do. Making dreams come true. Living tissue, warm flesh. Excuse me. Plastic tubes and pots and pans, bits and pieces. Listen. Bits of my creation. Is it real? It's my creation, my creation. This is a mad scientist just... He got funding for whatever project he wanted to do, and he used part of that funding to actually do what he was supposed to do, but then he took about 75% of that funding and put it towards his personal project, which is a little bit of a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing. Weird science, magic and technology, voodoo dolls and chants, electricity we're making, fantasy and microchips shooting from the hip, something different we're making. Pictures from a magazine, diagrams and charts, mending broken hearts. I don't think that's metaphorical. Something like a recipe, bits and pieces. Listen, he's doing his thing. This is the theme song for a Frankenstein movie. Have they made like a modern Frankenstein movie? Because I feel like that would they could. A24 would need to make it. Like one of those studios would need to make it. And it would be really good. You know what this makes me think of? Hold on. I don't know. Like I'm a '90s kid, right? I don't remember what it was called. I think back when I was a kid, they had like these. Not science kits, but like it was always advertised on TV. Like you could like put things together and it like you could make bugs or make like stuff. I want to say it was called Creepy Crawlies or something. Creepy Crawlers or like it was this thing I'm looking it up right now. Creepy Crawlies, is that what it was called? It wasn't a toy, but like it was a science kit kind of thing. Yo! Let me pull you up here. Hold on. Yo, I found it.
Stretch, logo, color change. And for some real
Yeah.
creepy detailing, go back.
I never got to like play with these. I never got to see one in real life. I would always see it in the store, and I always wanted to do that.
With more groups to choose from, Master Kenneth has perfected the art of bugging people.
You could create your own bugs? Why go to the dollar store and buy bugs when I could just make them?
Shockingly realistic. Mother's patience was stretched to her limits. The maid had only glowing things to say.
That looks so cool, the glowing bugs.
The butler did it. There's a goop for every occasion.
Creepy crawlers. That was, oh man, catch me living my childhood. I'll go to the store right now and get some. Anyways. Weird Science. This is a really fun album to listen to. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching and listening to it with me. Favorite songs, Dead Man's Party and No One Lives Forever. I would say those two are very easily my favorite tracks on the album. Least favorite, Sandman I Was Before, as of right now. But yeah, this was a fun album to listen to. Let's see if there's any other extra information about this one here. Let's see. The album was the band's first to be certified gold for sales of 500,000. The album cover art is a homage to the Mexican holiday Dia de los Muertos, of course, as you see over here. We already read this about Weird Science. It says that the song went on to become the band's most commercially successful single, which Elfman later regretted as he believed it just didn't feel like it was really a part of the band's repertoire. I'm actually kind of curious. Obviously, you know, as we read, this song was written for the show/movie. So did they just say, like, let's just toss it in our album, even though maybe it didn't fit with like their vision because they had the song? Just kind of curious. The album hit the US Billboard Hot 200 at 95 and Australia Kent Music Report at 65. Anyways, fun album to listen to. Definitely a party. I almost said a party in your pants, but it's a party in your casket. Let me know. Wrong button. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you stopping by. Press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And as I said from the beginning, but I'm going to just reiterate it one more time. If it's your first time here, I really appreciate you watching to this point. Like, if it's your first time watching ever on this channel, you're like, you get the gold star. But if it's not, you still get a gold star. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend and, of course, your holiday. And I will see you all later. Bye. How long can I hold this now? Not very long. That was probably really annoying, actually. What?